The Pathless Path, Part 2, The Tantric Path. Our spiritual journey starts on the Vedantic path, which eventually leads us into the recognition of our true nature, empty, infinite, indivisible awareness. And as Rupert explains, this is not the end of the journey. And so for the next stage, we follow the Tantric path, using techniques from Kashmiri Shaivism. In the Tantric path, we don't turn away initially from objective experience. We start with objective experience, seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, smelling, thinking, imagining, and feeling. And instead of turning away from all of these and asking, who is the one that knows them? We instead notice that the experience of being aware pervades all these experiences. So in this approach, we don't have to move away from objective experience. Rather, we see into objective experience. It's the difference between turning the movie off in order to see the screen that's the Vedantic approach. Or we leave the movie playing and we look through the movie and see its reality, the screen, without turning it off. So, just the very fact that everyone is aware, everyone knows the experience I am, is considered sufficient in this tradition to give them the direct teaching. However, the danger of this approach is that people often don't realize that after the recognition of our true nature, there is still a clearing out process that needs to take place in the body and the mind. feeling the sensation in the way we do in the yoga meditations and breathing loving emptiness into it is an attempt to both flush out all the old resistances the separate me feelings, to expose them, to flush them out of their hiding places in the body, and in so doing, to gradually dissolve them. So that is the tantric aspect of this approach. But here we engage the tantric approach after exploring our true nature. And after recognizing it, at least to a certain extent. So there is this big discrepancy between what people understand and what they say and how they live. And behave. The reason there is this discrepancy is because our recognition, to the extent to which we have recognized our true nature, has not been fully taken into our experience of the body and the world. By focusing more on the inward-facing path, to really establish in our experience what we are. So that there is this ground of understanding. What I am is this open, empty, unlimited space of awareness. And once that is clear, at least to an extent, not just as an idea, but as an actual experience, then we begin to incorporate this exploration of the body and the world. Our understanding is that all experience appears in, is known by, and is made of infinite consciousness. It's one thing to understand that. It's another thing to feel that. And yet another thing to act and relate in a way that is consistent with that feeling and understanding. So, in this approach, we don't use the tantric path as a means to recognizing our true nature. We use the direct path. This exploration of our feelings and indeed our beliefs comes from interest, love, and enthusiasm. enthusiasm. It is enjoyable and joyful. It's not a discipline or a routine practice. These feelings can be explored whenever they are present. That is, at any moment in the waking state. I would suggest exploring them only when the interest, love, and enthusiasm to do so arises. For instance, while waiting for a bus, sitting on a train, taking the dog for a walk, eating breakfast. And also, if interested, while the attention is completely free of all other engagements, such as sitting silently in one's bedroom or sitting room. Some tips for practicing the Tantric path. Don't resist the presence of bodily sensations and emotions. Invite them and make peace with them. Go all into the experience of sensations and emotions without acting out. Now, having reached this unshakable realization in the Vedantic path, much of the time we still feel ourselves to be located inside a solid, physical body, which seems to move around in a solid, material world that is separate from itself. So a further step is needed to enable us to feel the body as it truly is. It is true that self-inquiry often starts with a question in the mind as to what I really is. However, if this investigation is to be complete, it has to penetrate into the deepest layers of our sense of self, and not self. That is, it has to infiltrate the me, feeling at the level of the body, and the not me feeling at the level of the world. Tantric yoga meditations work by allowing tensions and contractions in the body to be seen clearly and to dissolve in the light of that clear seeing. It is those tensions and contractions that are the residues of a no longer believed in separate self. In exploring the body in this way, we are realizing in a non-conceptual, experiential way the inherently transparent, open, borderless nature of the body. And that experiential understanding has a profound impact on these residues. It feels like we're doing nothing. And indeed, we are doing nothing to the body. But feeling it in this way, feeling that the body is just a borderless field of sensation, rather than an object with a clearly defined border. To feel the body in this way begins to liberate the body from the tensions that accompany the belief, I am a solid, separate entity. It rewires the body or reorchestrates the body, and we feel the body more and more to be open and sensitive, empty and transparent. In this process, layer upon layer of these residues of feeling, these ancient feelings, bubble up to the surface. They are sensations. They are layers of tensions that bubble up to the surface. And they are simply felt as sensations that are just allowed to soak in this warm bath of awareness. And gradually percolate out into the surrounding space. And the surrounding space, in turn, percolates into them, transforming and dissolving these knots with the lovingness and the emptiness